Hello Guardians, it's your friendly neighborhood Kara here. If you're here after watching any of the other videos in this 4-video series, I thank you for sticking with me and assure you that it'll all be worth it. If you have no clue as to what I'm talking about, I urge you to check out the video linked in the top right corner first before watching this video, as it will give you a brief overview of the mechanics at play. In this video, I'll be taking a deep dive into the best mod synergies for my favorite class, Warlock. Warlocks are extremely versatile in the roles they can fill and boast some of the best neutral game abilities of all classes. The extreme versatility provided by Warlocks also means that the class has a lot of ways to generate elemental wells and become charged with light. I will touch over each elemental tree one by one, starting with Solar, then going to Void, moving on to Arc, and finishing the discussion with Stasis. Without further ado, let's talk about Solar subclasses. When talking about Warlocks in PvE, we all know the clear outlier, not only among the Solar Warlock subclasses, but subclasses across all characters in general, Well of Radiance. Since this is the subclass most relevant to PvE, let's start here. There is no other way to say this. Well is broken. OP. Always has been, and if left unchanged, always will be. Do you hate dying? Do you hate when your teammates die on you? Do you want to fulfill the healing dream of every MMO player? If so, then this subclass is for you. Well Radiance is blessed by having the ability to chain abilities like no other subclass. All you need to do is have a teammate standing in your rift and you can spam as many grenades as you like. It'll make Shax proud. Because of this reason, the first elemental well mod that comes to mind is Elemental Ordnance. With this mod equipped, your grenade final blows on combatants spawn an elemental well of your subclass type, in this case, a Solar Elemental Well. Easy enough. This mod, alongside the combination of Elemental Charge and Protective Light, is all you need to do well in most endgame PvE content while running Well of Radiance. Add on a copy of Taking Charge for even more versatility, and you will never not be charged with light. The last and final mod slot can go towards any other seasonal artifact mod or synergy based mod you like. If nothing comes to mind, Bountiful Wells is always a safe play and will spawn an extra elemental well each time you get a grenade kill. Next up, we have Bottom Tree Dawnblade, or as I like to call it, Explosions, the subclass. The mod you want to run with this subclass is Explosive Wellmaker. Elemental Ordnance is not a bad choice by any means, it's just that this particular Solar mod was basically handcrafted by the overlords at Bungo for this subclass. With this mod equipped, your explosive kills will all generate Solar Elemental Wells, with all your subclass abilities applying the burn effect to enemies and causing them to go boom when you kill them. You have a nearly endless supply of Elemental Wells, whether it be through your super, your melee, or your grenade. If the enemy has a health bar, you can make them explode. With the 2 slots that remain after equipping Elemental Charge and Protective Light, I recommend speccing completely into the explosive nature of your light. 1 copy of Bountiful Wells and a duplicate copy of Explosive Wellmaker will allow you to generate 3 Solar Wells with a single explosive kill, meaning you can basically chain your explosive abilities endlessly. Last but not the least, we have Top Tree Dawn. Now, Top Tree Dawn is much more of a PvP subclass than a PvE one when considering endgame, but Celestial Fire is a melee ability you do not want to sleep on. Slap on Melee Wellmaker and generate wells consistently by sniping your enemies with your melee ability, getting melee energy refunded on every kill while you are in the air. Although extremely fun, I'd recommend sticking to one of the other 2 subclasses for endgame PvE purposes. Who am I kidding anyway? We all know your fire team is going to force you to run well regardless. For the Warlock mains that refuse to conform, let's channel your inner Void. Void Warlocks love their nades. The nades on all 3 Void subclasses are arguably more valuable than even their supers. As fun as Devour is, let us start by looking at the more viable endgame PvE Void subclass, Top Tree Void. This is also commonly referred to as Slower Bomb and has access to some of the best nades in the game by charging your nades before throwing them. Charging nades on Slova gives them a massive increase in damage and other benefits depending on the nade type. Likewise, it's hardly a surprise that the mod I recommend in this case is Elemental Ordnance. Another Void mod you can run that shines in endgame PvE is Reaping Wellmaker, which generates a Void Elemental Well on your first weapon kill after activating your class ability. The reason this mod shines is that it has a very easy to achieve requirement, since you are extremely likely to get a kill somewhere down the line after activating your class ability. Note that this mod is not bound by time, and you can take as much time as you need to land that next weapon kill. This mod can act as a backup plan in the case where you get unlucky with your grenade and are unable to land a final blow with it. The next subclass up among Void Warlock subclasses is Devour. Devour is a class that shines in low-level content but has a harder time competing with its top tree counterpart in endgame. Regardless, Devour Warlock is an excellent subclass and nades are your best friend. Eat them, throw them, cuddle them, everything works. Throw on the Elemental Ordnance and Reaping Wellmaker combo and you'll never have to worry about not having enough wells to consume. Last up, we have Nova Warp. Nova Warp, like Top Tree Dawn, is much stronger in PvP than PvE. But if you really want to use it, either of Elemental Ordnance or Melee Wellmaker will do you wonders. As a bonus, you can also run Explosive Wellmaker due to the explosive abilities of this class and generate Solar Elemental Wells. Although not as effective as Void Wells on Void subclasses, picking up these will still give you some ability energy for your lowest charge ability and one stack of Charge with Light to use. If the edginess of Void Warlock is not for you, let's channel your inner god of lightning instead. Oh, what all of us wouldn't give for a chance to be Thor. Sadly, Arc Warlocks are generally better suited for PvP and lower level PvE content. The best endgame contender out of the three is Chaos Reach, although a shell of its former self with the nerf to Geomax stabilizers. The subclass is still, however, quite viable and has one of the best ability cycling passives in the form of Ionic Traces that you have a chance to generate on any kill. Both the melee and grenades on this subclass are extremely strong and you can roll with either of Elemental Ordnance or Melee Wellmaker. I would, however, recommend also running a weapon-based Charge with Light mod to complement this and make becoming Charge with Light easier. The other two Arc subclasses are extremely close in PvE power level, with Top Tree being stronger with grenades due to Chain Lightning based grenade energy refunding, and Bottom Tree being able to cycle rifts extremely fast for high survivability and an endless supply of Arc buddies. Thankfully for Arc subclasses, they all have access to perhaps one of the easiest ways to generate wells in Overload Wellmaker, which generates 2 Arc Elemental Wells for getting a simple finisher on a combatant. Even with access to that mod, however, Warlock Arc-based subclasses fall behind their competition in PvE and could definitely use some love. On the other end of the spectrum, we have a subclass that does not need any help whatsoever. This subclass is Stasis Warlock. At launch, Stasis Elemental trees were quite broken across all 3 classes. After all the changes that Stasis trees have gone through to balance them, you would think Stasis Warlock has gone down in power level since release. Oh, how wrong you would be. In the time Stasis was being nerfed across the board in PvE and PvP, Stasis Warlock was gifted with the single strongest non-super ability in all of Destiny 2. And no, this is not debatable. The Stasis turret, accessible through the aspect of influence, allows you to convert your grenade into a literal turret that shoots stasis bolts at your enemies and freezes them. Combine this with the Glacial Harvest aspect that generates stasis shards on freezing targets, and now you have an unlimited supply of stasis shards. Well, Riven, I have a bunch of stasis shards now. What good does that do? Well, consider the 2-cost stasis elemental mod called stasis shards that makes all your stasis shards count as stasis elemental wells. And there you have it, the single easiest loop for endless abilities and endless charged with light. I cannot put into words how broken this endless cycle of freezing is. The only thing in the game that comes even close to providing as much neutral game survivability as this gameplay loop are blinding Nate GLs, but that's a topic for another day. Stasis Warlocks have everything that you could ask for. A mini turret? Check. An easy way to make a bazillion stasis shards? Check. A way to treat every single shard you make as an elemental well? Now you're just showing off. Stasis Warlock is, without a doubt, the best subclass in the game in any situation when you can do without a well of radiance, and my personal go-to subclass for everything PvE. And there you have it, an in-depth rundown of every single subclass a Warlock has access to and the best ways to generate elemental wells and empower your elemental charge and protective light combo. Although I touched upon them briefly, I also urge you to take a look at weapon-specific Charged with Light mods that allow you to become Charged with Light by getting rapid kills with a specific type of weapon. These mods allow you to become Charged with Light without having to risk your life to pick up Orbs of Power or Elemental Wells, although the latter is much lesser of an issue with Elemental Wells due to existence of Seeking Well mod that attracts any elemental wells within a 20-meter radius to your character. Arguably the best part of Destiny gameplay, however, is discovering a new mod combination that works the best for you and you enjoy using, so I urge you to experiment as much as you can. Also keep in mind that with Witch Queen, we know that there's a major overhaul coming to all Void subclasses, with Void 3.0. I will make an updated guide on the best Void mods then and all the synergies on the Witch Queen launch date. With that, I would like to thank you for watching this video and for your time. I hope you were able to learn something new from this video, and you can look forward to similar videos detailing synergies for Hunters and Titans in the near future. A like and subscription is always appreciated, and until next time, take care.